Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our webinar today, Saving Time with Template Files for Live Events. My name is Lindsay Lee, and I'm the marketing specialist for the entertainment industry here at Vectorworks. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. First, this webinar is being recorded, and the on-demand version will be posted to Vectorworks University. Next, there will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation, so if you have any question, please write them in the question box. Lastly, after the webinar, please fill out the survey and provide your feedback. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our presenter for today, Mauro Puglia. Mauro, in collaboration with his partner Felix Sainz, leads Yoke Studios, a distinguished design firm based in Buenos Aires renowned for its global footprint and live entertainment projects. Specializing in conceptualizing, developing, and executing avant-garde experiences, Yoke Studio stands as an emblem of innovative design. Originally rooted in lighting design, Mauro's expertise spans set design, stage design, and rendering artistry. His multifaceted background has firmly positioned Yoke Studios as a key player in the dynamic realm of live entertainment. Driven by an unwavering passion for innovation and storytelling, Mauro has seamlessly channeled his experience into the leadership of Yoke Studios, where clients and collaborators turn for a creative studio dedicated to crafting exceptional shows in terms of set, stage, lighting, and creative direction. At the forefront of design technology, Mauro relies on Vectorworks as a pivotal software, molding their creative visions into tangible, awe-inspiring realities. So let's give Mauro a warm welcome and we'll go ahead and get started.
And welcome to my first Vectorworks webinar. I choose to do this webinar to explain my philosophy behind the template file because I consider this is a root powerful tool to have for every designer. I want to apologize in advance if my English is not really well. It's not my mother language, so I hope you have a good understanding through over this webinar. So I started my research, and when I was picked to do this webinar, I was really curious to see the different definitions of templates over the internet. So the first one that came up was something that is used as a pattern for producing other similar things. A molecule as of DNA that serves as a pattern for the generation of another macromolecule such as messenger RNA. A preset or file model in software design, guiding efficient project creation with consistent structure and design. In our studio, projects commence with hand drafting and curated references spanning various disciplines. We draw inspiration from designers within our field, as well as from architecture, interior design, films, and recently we have incorporated artificial intelligence too. As we shape the identity of a new project, we create a new file through our template and start what we like to call digital drafting on Vectorworks, one of our primary design tools. Vectorworks covers the broad spectrum of our design process from initial drafts to final plots for client and technical teams. Establishing a solid template is instrumental in manipulating and gaining a better understanding of your design process. It becomes a pivotal practice in your workflow, enabling effective communication of your ideas and projects.
This is an empty file I create with the purpose of showing you how to use the organization window. So I'm going to be typing organization, and we are going to be creating the different classes, descent layers, and views that we are going to use on our template. So I'm not going to create all of them. I'm just going to create a few so we can finish looking all of them on the actual template. So let's begin with the first one, which is called lighting. I always like to put the number before so I can track the order. And I like to keep it on groups. LX position to me is every truss that holds many different fixtures, lighting fixtures. It can be different kinds or the same, it doesn't matter. And I will mention these different edX positions by number, and then the last category will be the fixture type. So I'm gonna be doing the same. Let's add here, let's make a duplicate and an edit, so we can have stroke 2. Let's create a new one called edX2. Same thing, duplicate, edit, stroke. And to finish with lighting, let's create the floor category, the position, and the lighting. Let's duplicate that and add beam. And let's do, oh, sorry for that. Let's do also something that I use a lot. As I use the numbers, I use the letter Z to put things that I want at the bottom of the organization of each different department. So in this case, I'm going to be using special effects to organize my haze and fans. And I'm going to be using also the category of follow spot, the ones that are on stage. Duplicate, edit, the one that are off stage. Perfect. And since I commit a mistake here, I'm gonna edit this category so I can have it at the bottom, because it's not a category that I use a lot. Let's create another department, which is gonna be truss. Let's duplicate that so we can have edX2. And let's create the VX positions. VX positions is every position, every truss that holds a LED screen. And again, let's put red rigging. And here I like to do 2 categories, the horizontal and the vertical. And we're gonna keep it like this with the classes. Then we're gonna see on the actual template that I have many more departments and subclasses, but let's jump into the design layer. Here is basically the same exercise. I'm not gonna put all of the layers, but I wanna include these main layers that are the titles. So I like to have everything really clean and separated. And the way I found to do that is to create a first layer with the title, and then start creating, layers divided by departments and arrange them on this main group. So I'm gonna be creating also rigging. Again, there are many more in the template we're gonna see in a minute. Let's call this set. And I'm gonna repeat the same thing here with another title called import layers and models. This is another category to organize my layers. In this category, I like to include all the, for example, all the DWG plots that I might import into a design. And I also like to include the free model layer. This layer is really useful to me because allows me to have an empty layer that I can create and explore models that I may use in my design without adding any information or having to see other stuff that will not be, maybe it's not being used, or is something that I'm sketching or the client is about to approve. So I don't want to pollute all the layers that I already have information that I know that belong to the design. And that's the purpose of the free model. And there is the last one that is called copy clipboard. So copy clipboard will hold all the layers that are dummy layers that only have symbols or elements that, I'm gonna put that in English, sorry for that, that I want to activate the layer and come here to copy paste stuff that is already on the design, and I don't want to have to use it from zero. We're gonna see the function. I know it's a little bit confusing, but in the template it's really easy to understand. And I'm gonna also do some views. So I do the same here. I make a 0, 0 and put this other criteria. So let's copy this because we're gonna use it again. So this is general, and here I have my all design view and other views that are really general and show many informations. And then I have another group called, let's copy that. It's called design. And in design, I will have all the different departments of my design. So let's begin with lighting. Let's continue with trussing. Let's actually edit that so it's correct. It's all trussing. And we're gonna see in the template how this is edited to show specifically the department I want to see and maybe other layers that are really important, but not everything. And of course, in the case of lighting, since it's showing all lighting, it's gonna show every class of lighting. I'm gonna press OK. But once you do the all lighting, you can edit and have, well, all lighting or lighting floor. That's more correct. And you can edit this, come here, and hide everything that is not related to the floor. So let's jump to the template and see how to implement all of this. This is an actual template. I duplicate the template file from my dummy template file that I always use and assign a title. I want to start showing you really quick how I organize this on my project folder. I also have a dummy version that I duplicate every time I start a project. It has different folders that I'm not going to be focusing on them, but I'm going to show you super quick how I use the folder model. So I divide it into my previs and my model software, in this case is Vectorworks, and I put this title, which is webinar version 2.0 and the date of today. This allows you to have a really good tracking of all the versions, and I like to make a folder dedicated to saving all the previous versions. So as you might see here, I have the version 1.0 and I also have the version 1.0 but with another date. So this allows me this workflow of dates, of having the date actually being expressed like this by year, month, and day, allows you to have a good list of all the files in order, ready to use and check. So let's get back to the actual template. This is the first look that you see every time you open a template file. As I mentioned before, I have already my views, and I'm gonna be jumping into an all design view. So I'm gonna be seeing this stage that I already designed. I'm gonna make a shaded view of it and orbit around a little bit. It's trying to draw all the geometry. Let's wait some seconds, and then you are. Great. So it's really simple. It has one front truss, LX1, LX2, LX3, and 2 side slides. And at the end, LED screen with some lighting on the floor. Let's jump back to top plan view. So here I have all of my lighting rig, And as you can see, I already put all of them into my lighting classes. Let's collapse all of this. So here I have the lighting position front, and the type of fixture is a spot. I always like to mention the type of fixture instead of the model and the brand, because I feel if you replace this fixture by another fixture, it's super easy to hold it by type of fixture. I also have, if I click my magic tool, which I love it, the select similar tool, and I press the setting class, you can see how these beams belong to LX1, same way the strobes, same way with these beams on the LX2, and so on, so on. So let's say I want to add in the floor some beams. I can access to my resource manager, and I have also, let's stop a little bit here in the resource manager. I want to show you how I organize this. It's basically copying the same philosophy of including numbers and departments. I try to condense in the number 3 the set, the stage, and the video. So here, for example, I have the musicians, which they also live in the stage design layer, and the video where I have my LED screen module. Same way with fixtures, where I have all of my custom fixtures that I made, and I save them in a specific file called fixtures, my name and the year. I do the same thing with trussing. And then I like to create different folders for the rest of the components that Vectorworks have. We're gonna see in part number 3, the use of worksheets, and something that is really useful, and is the graphic legends. So let's get back to our design. We were dealing with the idea of adding some more lighting to our floor pack. So let's begin doing that. I'm gonna select this Rabbit mega point. Click once, click here, at the center, and then I will use another one here. This really good tool. I will press it with the shortcut, but it's the align distribute objects. I'm gonna distribute it so I have it well organized. And I need to put all of these guys into their class. So in this case, it's floor, it's lighting, floor, back, upstage, beam. Let's say you also would like to add some spots to your floor pack. Let's turn that this. Another one and another one. Let's align this first. Excellent. And then let's mirror this so we can have it in both sides. Since I don't have it in my actual floor class, I don't have anything to put these lightings as a category. So I will, instead of creating from 0, I will duplicate this and I will edit this. This will allow me that every time I call a saved view that already exists, that holds all the floor pack of this design, we are gonna see these new spots that I already add. So let's put floor, sides, spots. And with the spots selected, I'll click assign to selection. So if I go to my organization window, to my saved views, I have all the main views for my different departments, and I delete the ones that I always use to create some of them, so you can see the exercise from 0. So I'm gonna duplicate all lighting, I'm gonna edit, and I will change the number, and I will put lighting floor. So I'll have all the classes that only belong to Floor. So let's hide every position. I don't want to see the photo spots or the special effects. And I also will edit the layers because I don't want to see the trusses. And maybe the stage, I want to see it full. And maybe we can do one for, let's do for trussing, so we can arrange and have different views for trussing video and edit trussing lights. So again, same exercise. Oh, that's not correct. Perfect. I can come here, edit, go to my classes, go to my classes that belong to trusses and hide everything that belongs to LX because I only want to see the positions related to video. So I'll press OK. I will check the layers too. Probably rigging. Okay, we want to see rigging too. We keep it this way. Same thing with lights. So here, let's make invisible. Where are you? Where are you? Here, trusses, perfect. The ones that belong to video and pre-rigging, of course. So we have it. Then we press OK. So now, if I move here and go to my views, I can click on the trussing that belongs to video and only see the truss of the video. The same exercise for the lighting floors, and so on, so on. So now let's get back to our design. And we're gonna see how to use the duplication on the sheets. So on the sheet layers, I always have a clipboard too that holds many different tools that I use. All of them, you can find them on the resource manager. This lighting key, I did it from a symbol-based legend, and I edit this through this menu. I click here on defining the legend source and find objects that meet the following criteria. Type must be lighting device. I press OK, I press OK, and I press OK. And now I am sure that this lighting key will show me only the information regarding lighting. This is a really useful tool that came up a few versions ago. And I have the same thing with, let's say, trusses and worksheets. For example, if you locate this worksheet, you can have a truss count. So if I actually, you have to edit it from the sheet. So I have one that belongs to carved truss and one that belongs to truss record, because sometimes I use the tool of creating carved truss and don't assign a record. That's why. And here you can play with the edit criteria to have a better understanding how worksheets work. Let's wait for that. Actually, I think it didn't came. Yeah, that's it. So in this case, find objects that meet the following criteria. Type is carved truss. And here we have the same exercise. Find objects that meet the following criteria. Type is truss. And we actually have some of them, so it's already updated. In each column, you can edit and have, in this case, the model name, the different dimensions, and the total count. All of that is, of course, something you can edit, and it will update regarding the records. So let's create our first group of viewports. So I like to start by creating always a page that is called presentation. I'll put the DPI on 300 because it will include some renders. And A3 is a standard here in Argentina. So let's just start. Before creating our viewports, let's start composing this sheet. I'm gonna grab a title block. I will use the one in English and the vertical version. This is something really useful that I want to show you. On every layout, I want to put this symbol that it's also standing here. In this case, it's in Spanish. And it says preliminary plots. So every tech company, rental shop that receives these plots, they know that they're not the final version. And so I will put the symbol here. And as you can see, I cannot select it because it's on a class that is called stamp. So I will exit here. I will come to clipboard and I will copy paste the writer key. Actually, if I press Command Option B, it will be a paste in place. And let's do the same with the truss. Okay, let's jump back to all design. And here we're gonna press F, create viewport, and create our first viewport. I'm gonna scale it on a 100. I like to have a top plan view of everything that contains my design. I'm gonna press OK. I'm gonna grab it over here. And I'm gonna go back again to my all design view. Press number 2 on my numpad. Press Shift U to have some perspective and play with the joystick. And I'm gonna shadow this scene. I'm gonna create a viewport again. Something that I wanna show is I'm a huge fan of using shaded with texture but without color, and increasing the lighting sometimes is useful too. We can go like 90. That's correct. So I will create my viewport and we will do it this size. Maybe we do it bigger once we are there. I think this is a good size and will arrange good with the sheet. So now that we have presentation, we're gonna see how we can take advantage of duplicating sheets. So let's say I'm gonna duplicate presentation. And I'm gonna name this lighting overhead. So I'm gonna delete the render, I'm gonna delete the trussing, I'm gonna make this bigger. I'm gonna come here, and since it's only overhead, I wanna press 0, 1, and I wanna hide the floor. And I also want to hide the layer video. And I also want to hide the truss that belongs to video. And why not pre-rigging too? Perfect. So we have, oh, it looks like this. Let's double check the floor. Perfect. Floor is out. So we have all of our overhead. And this is the advantage of duplicating sheets. Now I can do super quick my lighting floor, and I know everything is well organized. So I will just type floor, same viewport, same orientation, nothing changed. I just go here, hide the trusses, press OK, come to the class, and let's see all the floor, and let's hide everything that is not on the floor, so you guys are out too. And now we have the floor, and we can repeat the same workflow over and over. We can have, let's say, video here, all positions, and again I will click here, hide the lights, show the truss, show the video. Remember to show your classes properly, and that's correct. If you want to add an image, you can, for example, come here, double click, edit your viewport, go to video. This is a workflow that I always use. Try to be dynamic with how I edit my designs using this menu and jumping back and forward, because I know already my note is to duplicate stuff and add new things to my design. So I will do that with the truss. I will put this truss to be a truss that belongs to the image. Perfect. And I want to go to video, and I want to duplicate, say, this amount of screen, and I want them in the center of the truss, of course. So I can have a quick look here. We can crop to have a smaller image. We can come here, show snap modify others. I use this option a lot. And we can open it a little bit. We can go top down view, mirror it. And now if we go back to video, we will have the viewport updated. In this case, we need to do it smaller because it won't fit. That's correct. And I also sometimes duplicate viewports. So in this case, I want to show dimensions on a front side. I just duplicate the viewport and press number pad 2. You can also find it in the object info palette on the view. So let's give some dimensions here, annotations. Dimension here, one dimension. Oh, it's not correct. Let's make a zoom. Perfect. One dimension here. And let's do the big one. Excellent. Let's place it a little bit smaller. 100 will be okay. That's correct. And now let's say I want to delete this because this has nothing to do with video, and I want to use my worksheet that has all of my LED screens, positions, and amount of modules. So in this case, if I go recalculate, it's going to show me only the position of backup station. This is why I always want to be double checking that everything has its own position through the record format. In this case, I edit this record format, the famous video LED record format, and I add this position at the end. So here I'll put image, I'll press OK, go back to my worksheet, to my sheet layer, come here, recalculate, and that will update perfectly. So now that we have a good pair of different, we can render this actually, should look nicer. Just wait for that. So we can make a publish of this. I use the window of publish a lot, and I tend to do two types of publish. The first one, I like to do it export PDF separate files so I can send it to the different departments. I'll press OK and publish. And the second export will be as a one only single file to send to my production manager or any production team that needs to see all of the department information. And now, to finish this webinar, we're gonna see some tricks for external outputs like 3D files, DWGs, MBR, etc. So the way I like to have all of my exports is through my folder that I show you at the beginning. So inside BW, I have a subfolder called export. And in the case of MBR, since I'm seeing all of my lighting objects, I like to separate the files that I export by the different instrument types. So I'm gonna, through the shortcut, open the Find and Modify. I'm gonna use the light or moving light instrument type, select the Robbie PMFL wash beam, press F, export MBR, and only the selected objects. So if I press OK, I can go to, where did I put this folder? Come on, I forgot. Ah, now I know, it's here. Model, BW, exports, and here I like to put a subfolder for lights and a subfolder for 3D models. And I don't use it really often, but let's do it, DWG. Also, something good is to add versions, but since we're working on a single version, it's okay, but sometimes I group all of these folders in a folder that contains the version and the date. So if I have multiple outputs during my design process, I can know where those outputs belong in terms of date and version. So I will save it. I think I saved it on the main folder. Let's check that. Yeah. So let's move here to lights. And I forgot to put the title PMFL. So I will do the same. Sorry. Find and modify. I'll do the same with the mega pointer. And press export MBR. Select the objects. This workflow allows me that if there is any change during my design and I need to re-export again, I can have more control on the things that are in the previous software. And you can continue with the rest of the rig. Now we're going to be using our all trussing and rigging to export all trusses. In this case, I'm going to be doing active only, and I'm going to export FBX. All visible objects on all layers, that's correct. So I put truss here. 3D objects, again, this is not a folder. This is a folder. Perfect. And also, if someone asks you for a rigging plot, let's make use of the copy motors so we can export the DWG of our rigging plot, which is a common workflow. So what I like to do here is have this copy motors layer where I can grab, for example, my hoist for lighting, go back to rigging. Actually, we're gonna use all truss and rigging. We're gonna stand in rigging and copy this. And we can start placing them. Actually, before doing that, you want to make sure that you have all of your rigging views available on hoist and also where's that? Let's check. Not this one. I think it doesn't have a number, right? Yeah, correct. 101. And what I like to do is place this in the center with the first one. So now that I did that, I can start copying everything and it will have the same coherence. So let's place it super quick and random. Doesn't need to be perfect. It's just an exercise. If you want to number these, you can go super quick. Let's just begin with these ones. Through the shortcut, I put the spotlight numbering that also works for hoist, and I can put starting 101, increment of 1, left to right. That's correct. And let's do it for this. And also, since I don't have exclusive view of rigging, I can make use of this tool that will hide different classes and layers, hide everything, put truss on this state of visibility, and I can come here, all trussing and rigging, so I'm gonna be saving 202 rigging. And I can come here, duplicate, delete this, delete this, delete this, come to my clipboard, grab the list of motors, why not the key, paste in place, rearrange this, beautiful, change the title, rigging, all positions, we come here, go to rigging, create viewport, and you can see, okay, let's put another number. I don't use this, but sometimes even if you don't use it, it's still there. Custom, let's place 100. We can place this here and make it a little bit bigger. Let's say 75. Beautiful. Let's update this. You're gonna see different motors on my key because, sorry, hoist motores is in Spanish, because I haven't deleted the ones on copy motores. So you can come here, delete all of this, get back to your shit, recalculate that, and you will only have the ones that we draw. And now let's do the final output. As we promised, a very simple DWG export with this setup because we only want to communicate the rigging. So it's gonna be all visible design layers. I like to export invisible classes in case I miss something. That's my default active settings. All of this I check it. Not this option because I want a single file. Some of my configuration that I always use. Update everything in case I'm missing something. And having a custom location, or sometimes I also export in default location. And I choose this from here so I don't have to do it later. Exports DWG. It is already done. I will actually do it again. And that's it. Now you can find it on your folder in the export DWG. So thank you so much for joining into this webinar. I hope you enjoy it, and let's jump into the questions.